Good afternoon, Bloomington. It is Friday at 3:02 p.m. You're listening to WIUX LB Bloomington, and this is Growing Pains, the show where we interview cool local artists. We are joined in the studio today by a record number of guests. We've got Street Pennies and Working Title Magazine in the studio. Say hello.
Hi.
This is such an exciting collaboration. Lots to talk about. We're going to kick it off with three of the Street Pennies interviews. We're going to be talking about the band, and then later unpacking the music edition of Working Title. Thank you all so much for joining us today. The rest of the Street Pennies, I'm going to kick you out right now. Thank you so much for that beautiful hello. We're going to see you later, though. Perfect. Yes. And Working Title will be back later. And then there were four. Welcome, Ollie, Mason, and John of Street Pennies to the show. How are you guys feeling?
Really excited.
Great.
Yeah, this is fun.
Awesome. And you are welcome to get closer to the mic if you want.
Okay, cool.
So we can get that perfect sound. Yes, just to explain what we're all doing here, Working Title Magazine is a literary arts magazine founded by Curren, directed by it as well. The music edition is coming out. There's going to be a Reef show tonight celebrating some of the artists featured. But Street Pennies is on to talk about themselves and also maybe the magazine if you guys are so inclined. But who is Street Pennies? Who are you guys? Tell us, introduce yourselves to the world.
Yeah, I'm Mason Bose. I play lead guitar.
I'm John. I also play the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Ollie. I'm one of the vocalists.
And hello, Ollie.
Hello.
Great to meet you, John, for the first time, Mason, Ollie. BDMC regulars.
Yes.
So we're familiar. But can you tell me, this is such a basic question, but can you inform the listeners, how did the band begin?
Ooh, can I take this one? Okay, so there's this little organization at IU called Bloomington-based Music Club. Mm-hmm. It is, other than WIUX, the greatest music club in Bloomington. And I'm the co-president of it. But we had a little gig that we were doing, and the way that BDMC is kind of broken down is we do like genre-specific sets for different gigs. Mm. And so we all signed up for the blues gig, and we did a gig together, and it was really fun, and we really liked how it went. And we were kind of on the side of the stage, and we're like, oh my gosh, we should make this a band. So we formed as a band. Mason kind of took the lead on that and put us all together. But yeah, it all started from BDMC, and now we're going on a year together playing as Street Pennies, which is so fun.
Mm-hmm. I think it's so interesting that you guys, Bloomington Delta itself was a club that started, with an appreciation of the blues, hence the Delta, referencing the Mississippi Delta. But what about, I feel like for at least this demographic, the blues is maybe an underappreciated genre. But the fact that you guys all gravitated towards it and are, consistently playing that music, what about the blues, drew you into it, and how long have you guys been fans of this type of music?
That's a loaded question. Blues means, I think, a different thing to different people. Mm-hmm. I know me and John share a lot of like the similar guitar heroes, like the Hendrixes, the Stevie Ray Vaughans, etc. of the world. But so like you look at blues instrumentally, but you also look at blues in like a kind of like a feelings type of way. I mean, there was so much heartache and like troubles and oppression involved in the blues, and I think just like looking back at like each decade since the blues started has been really cool, and just seeing how it has evolved to today and like modern blues and stuff like that. But I don't know, we all just kind of shared the love for it. Like we grew up with it. I know Ollie and Lucas, our vocalists, like grew up in a blues club up in Valparaiso, and just like, I don't know, each person having that shared experience kind of, I don't know, just made us gravitate towards each other.
Yeah.
And, we're trying to show the blues to the people who don't usually see the blues every day. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm often surprised at the reception of the blues. When we play blues at shows here in Bloomington, all the college kids seem to really dig it. And even people who mostly listen to like charting pop, there's just something about it that everyone can get down with a little bit.
Ooh, yeah. This sounds really corny, and they're probably going to roll their eyes because I've been saying this since I started singing the blues. But, like, it's true when they say like the blues is the roots and like the rest is the fruit. So like any songs and like genre that you're listening to, it's probably been influenced by the blues. And I think that's what's like really pulled me to it. It's also like the soulfulness. Like you have to really connect, I think, with the song to like do it well when it comes to the blues, and that's something I really appreciate about it. Because like I've been doing it since I was in 6th grade. Like I was in a semi-professional position like as a vocalist in the Chicago area singing the blues, so it's like always that's like where my foundation of singing has come from. But I think the reason like why I've stuck with it, and I think why other people really appreciate it, and like why I think nobody like, I don't know, gets upset when we play at the Bluebird instead of playing like sing-along songs, is because it is just like a huge soulful emotional experience whether listening to it or playing it.
Yeah.
Right. What does it mean to, I mean, you've kind of touched on it, but what does it mean to like play at the Bluebird generally, and not only play this type of music that, you know, might not be the mainstream for college students, but also play at such like a club with such a legacy behind it?
Yeah, I mean, we've played, I think, close to like 20 shows now going there since we've started. And every time it gets a little bit easier with like the nerves and like, you know, we've done this before and stuff like that, versus like the first couple of shows where we were all, you know, in anxiety fits. It felt like at the beginning.
Yeah.
But the Bluebird has like a bunch of posters from like the historic people that have played there. Like you have, you know, there's multiple, you know, personal heroes of ours, but then like Aretha Franklin or like, you know, so many, Coco Taylor, so many people who've, you know, influenced the blues in general and us specifically. And so you kind of just like, you know, you sit in the green room and you like, our heroes have sat here. You play on the stage. Our heroes have played here in this exact spot. And I think just being able to play and like see new faces, see some old faces, I just never take it for granted personally. So.
Do you guys remember that first Bluebird show you had? I believe it was January of this year.
Yeah, it was a Sunday. MLK Day was Monday, and we had a Sunday show, which they don't usually do.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was horrifying.
I had tinsel in my hair. It was like it feels like another lifetime ago.
I don't remember it.
Yeah, I just remember before we started, our sound guy came up to me and I was like talking to my dad, and we were in the front of house, and the sound guy came up to us, Rob, and he was like, listen, like if people don't show up, like we're going to shut this down at 11:30. Like we don't really want to be here. It's a Sunday. Yeah. And then we played and it went really well, and people showed up. We had like so many friends coming, and it was just really, really cool. And Boogie, who recently passed away, this is like my favorite memory of him. He came up to us after our show, and I was like still like adrenaline shaky, like trying to clean up like where the stage is, and he like started yelling. He was like, you guys did it, like you filled up the house like on a Sunday, like we thought nobody was gonna come, and we were able to play our whole set, and it was just really, really cool. But I definitely remember us being really nervous, and then afterwards we got like the post-show blues because we were like, oh my gosh, like we could have done so much better.
Yeah.
But like the thing is, that was our second show playing as a band was at the Bluebird, so the way that it went, I think, is like best case scenario.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. And I know that you guys are bringing local newish band Violet Hour on with y'all on the 19th.
Yeah.
How does it feel to now be, I would say, a more, you know, experienced member in the Bloomington music scene? Like what do you take from that? What do you try to give to newer members?
Yeah, I mean, I remember well, how we got the Bluebird gig was we had a few friends who played there regularly, talk to the owner, talk to the sound guy, and basically vouch for us and say, hey, like, these guys are ready. And, you know, when you constantly see, I mean, this past year especially, there's been dozens of bands form that I haven't seen in the past couple years, like just the quantity and the reoccurrence of bands forming and playing. And so you constantly see these bands pop on Instagram, you know, play house shows, play shows in general. And you kind of look for, you look for the bands that your friends play in, but you kind of just look generally. And there was an opportunity for us to have an opener. Dave at the Bluebird wanted us to have a support act. And we know Violet Hour, a couple of their members had previously played in a band called Lounge, which had opened up for us. And so there was a couple members there who played Bluebird. before. Veronica was, a long-term member of BDMC, so we've known her for a while.
And an insane front woman.
Yeah,
I'm so
she's
excited
amazing.
for that.
And so we were just kind of, it was a very sporadic decision. We were just like, let's have Violet Hour on. It worked out for them, and Dave okayed it, and here we are.
Yeah. We watched them kill it at a house show.
Yeah.
And that just, for me, that's all it took, was seeing them. And I feel like a lot of bands, it's like that. Like, honestly, I still love going over to house shows as many as I can just to see what is popping up. And I feel like being a more experienced band, I mean, we spend a lot of time trying to tighten up and make sure that we're, putting on a good show. But some of these bands that are popping up are really good. And it's just crazy to see that around Bloomington.
Yeah.
It, definitely brings me back to, my freshman year. I was, really active in the house show scene, and so it's really cool to kind of see IU slowly bringing that back, and I feel like it's kind of picking up steam, so
yeah, and
it's just been fun.
That's another thing is I have a lot of work friends who are from other Big Ten schools and other country, all across the country, and luckily for us and myself, Bloomington I think trumps a lot of Big Ten schools, cities, in terms of music. The Bluebird just doesn't exist in other cities. I mean, I have friends from Michigan, Cincinnati, Minnesota, and they just don't have places like that to go to. And so I think, and also the stage is just huge in terms of other stages we played on. We have 8 people, so it's small stages aren't our friend. And so we're just incredibly fortunate to play the Bluebird. I brought it up this past week of just hey, I know we play here a decent bit, but let's all appreciate it, not take it for granted. Just because I saw a band play a stage that was a quarter of the Bluebird size, and we could easily be that, and that would suck. We were very spoiled in that way, so we just appreciate the music scene in general. It's awesome here.
We're just very fortunate for being in Bloomington and being where we're at. It's such a creative hub. It's really cool.
I know, and I wonder that myself. What about Bloomington? Because people, college students love music, but there just seems to be something about it, an energy, or just maybe the pre-existing bands just inspire others. If they can do it, I can do it. So it just seems like an ever-growing thing.
I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah, it's exciting to be witness of, and I'm sure for you guys to be a part of. But going back, Mason, to what you said, there's 8 members in this band. How I'm just so curious, how do you balance everybody's schedules, their needs, their music desires? How do you work effectively together?
Constant communication.
Yeah, we used to do everything through either GroupMe or iMessage, and so it got to the point, especially with booking, that it was just impossible to have everything in one screen. And so we started a Slack channel for everything. So we have it divided up in gig details, original music, song suggestions, stuff like that. And so that gave it a little bit more organization. But we used to have 9. And so we had a trumpet player leave, and we were we could fill that spot, but it's nice having a little bit less of because scheduling is just the hardest thing, I think.
Because we're such busy people. I think we all practice the idea of don't put all of your eggs in one basket. So it's definitely a balancing act. We've kind of had to get comfortable with not all being at a rehearsal, but we have we approach our rehearsals like we would with a class, and okay, our rehearsal is this date at this time. You need to be there, or else it's missing a class at that point. But it also helps that we're all really good friends now, and we're just able to have a lot of compassion and work around and stuff, so that helps.
I think chemistry stuff with the band, music preferences and things like that, I think those come a lot more naturally, a lot easier, just because of the group of people, the fact that we are friends. So we don't have to often talk about so and so feels they're not playing the music they like, things of that nature, because we're just the Street Pennies is kind of a single mind in that regard. But yeah, the scheduling, that's a nightmare sometimes.
Sure. No, that's really interesting. I was not expecting such a regimented thing to be how you guys go about this.
Because we have to approach it as a job at this point. This is how I make not all of my income, because shout out BBC, but it is like, this is how some of us make our money. Like, we have to keep it very, like, on top of it. And when we're, like, performers, like, we have to make sure whatever we're doing and, like, entertaining with, like, it's worth the money for people to come and see us, or, like, worth the time and effort for people to get, like, dressed and come out and see us. So
yeah, and as, like, the biggest hater of paying cover, like, I have to, like, you know, like, I have to be like, is our band worth paying $10 to go see? Is our band worth paying $5, you know, starting out? And so, you know, you think about that, and, you know, paying cover for a live band is a little bit different than, like, just an average club, because it, you know, it goes back to the band. But at the end of the day, people are paying their hard-earned money for us, and we got to deliver. So.
Yeah. Well, that's a good way to think about it, is for the people. And that's in your Instagram bio.
yeah, we're a band for the
Band
people.
for the people.
Sorry.
Do you guys have any pre-show or post-show rituals, things that you guys always do?
Yeah.
Pre-show, it's just us freaking out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the guys freaking out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, we've incorporated push-ups, I think, a lot recently,
Push-ups.
just because, I mean, I personally just have so much anxiety in general, and so pre-show is just, like, it's gotten better, but, like, you know, you'll never, I think, crack the nerves of a pre-show, like the butterflies or whatever, so just, like, jumping jacks, push-ups kind of gets it all out, but
Stretching. I like
stretching,
to stretch a lot before
but
the
yeah.
show.
Little meditation.
In the green room, we kind of just veg out and, like, just, you know, any last minute details, but honestly, it's just, you know, drink a few beers and enjoy the time we have.
Yeah, we've been going to
Tequila
Blooming
shot.
Foods a lot. That's
Yeah.
been fun.
Yeah.
Our post show's a little different, where I've heard some bands, like, go out and, like, get drinks afterwards, but, like, I'm usually, like, throwing up in the green room bathroom. Everybody else is, like, dying and trying to, like, clean
Feels
up their
very late.
stuff.
It's-
Yeah, it
it's
feels so
1:30,
late.
yeah.
Like, my bedtime is literally the time we usually start a show. So
Ooh.
I'm, like, I'm feeling ill and ready to go home.
Yeah. I know, I get that. So do you feel like since joining this band, you're kind of, I don't know, approach to your weekends or, like, night, like, have you changed your perspective on how, like, weekends are supposed to be treated? Does it feel more like a job, like a paid gig, or is it still something to be enjoyed?
Yeah, both. I enjoy every part about performing, but it is physically, emotionally, etc. taxing. And so, you know, we're playing Friday, Saturdays, so, like, the prime time to go out.
Right.
And, you know, back in the day, we were playing Wednesdays, which was fun, but the next day was still Thursday,
8
you know?
Sure.
And so there's classes involved, and I'm graduated and have, like, a full-time job now. And so my weekends are, like, you know, off, and then, you know, I'm not going out, you know, Wednesday through Sunday like I used to, you know? So weekends are more appreciated now, but yeah, just taking the time to chill, I think, is something we all collectively really enjoy now. I'm just, like, you know, we've had to not do rehearsals on Sundays because we're so beat from Saturday or Friday. So yeah, just taking the time to really, like, not do anything is important, I think, for everyone now.
What do you guys, I mean, this is flown by, honestly. We're about to welcome the next group in, but what are you guys most looking forward to in the future for Street Pennies?
Originals, getting our stuff out.
Awesome.
I'm really excited for that. We're in the process. It, like, was kind of slow to start because everything happened so fast with us performing and, like, performing consistently that, like, we were just trying to keep up with everything. But we've been very intentional as of late to, like, get stuff ready to be recorded. And yeah,
There's such good ideas, like, in each of the, I mean, there's 8 of us, and everyone has ideas, and those coming together at times is a little, like, it's tough to piece together, because it's like you have a bunch of puzzle pieces and you don't know how many puzzles you can build out of those pieces.
Right.
But the things that are coming together are really cool. I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, and I mean, on top of that, like, originals are something everyone, I think, is collectively looking forward to, but we're spreading out. So we're playing shows in, like, Indy now, and we've played, like, shows in Nashville, like, Brown County area. And so I think just, like, performing for different people and then getting regulars in, like, Indianapolis, and then, like, having those Bloomington people come to Indianapolis, and just kind of refining everything and making sure, like, each city we go to, each new crowd is, like, pleased and wants to come back for more. we have some upcoming shows in Indy that we're super pumped for. So I think just spreading out and getting our name out there more, I think is one of the more exciting things for me.
Yeah, I'm excited to play back in Chicago. I
Yeah.
think that'll be really fun. We have some talks going on right now about that, so that'll be fun.
That's an awesome opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll be looking out for that. Just a plug, you can follow the Street Pennies on Instagram at street.pennies.
Yes.
To be tuned, stay tuned on all their upcoming gigs. When do you think, not to, set a definitive date, but when do you think we might be able to hear some new music from you guys?
We have
Original.
loose plans to record in January-ish. So
Awesome.
we set a deadline to have everything like 3 songs-ish ready to go. And we have I think like probably 2 studios picked out that we could potentially go to, one up in
Perfect.
Fort Wayne and then one around here. And so just booking that time and getting in there. But we want to make use of our time in the studio. Studio time is expensive, as I'm sure we all know. And so, once those couple are done, we're ready to pop in there and get it recorded and get it out to everyone. So stay tuned, like early winter.
Yeah.
You'll see a lot on our Instagram and all that stuff. So
Awesome. Well, John, Ollie, Mason,
Natalie.
it's been a real pleasure to have you guys on and to hear your perspectives. And I wish nothing but the best for the band and for you guys personally. And I'm so excited to see you all tonight at the Reef House show that you will be playing at.
it'll be so fun.
This will be my first time seeing you guys live, which is bananas, but it's going to be great. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, Natalie. Oh my gosh, this is a dream come true. I love Growing Pains.
Thank you. It's so fun to get to just talk to everybody and anybody about the things that they love. And in this cool space as well, which the viewers on live are experiencing. So thanks you to everyone who's tuned in now. Would you guys be dolls and retrieve the remainder of your group?
Yes.
We'll keep on
Yes.
talking.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Yes, thank you guys. And then there was one. Just a quick mid-show plug. There's a lot happening right now, but this is in collaboration, hi Colin, with Working Title Magazine, Street Pennies, and Growing Pains. And if you guys would like to see these people live tonight, there's a show going on at the Reef. Jack, take my chair. Hold on. All right. Transition of power. Welcome, welcome. Okay, would you mind sharing a mic with one of these guys, pulling your chair over?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't need a chair.
Are you sure? Yeah. Okay. And we're back with a new cast of Street Pennies. Welcome back. Thank you all so much for being here. Can we get introductions to who the heck you guys are?
Yeah, so I'm Nate Cook. I play the saxophone for the Street Pennies.
Awesome.
My name's Jack Waninger. I play the bass.
Yo, it's just Mike. I play the keys for the band.
Awesome.
My name is Colin Waugh, and I play the drums.
And welcome. So these are the final 4. Lucas is gone, but this is the rest of Street Pennies. I'm curious because you guys are a mixture of original members and newer members. So I'm wondering, what for the older members, what's been, I guess, just your general experience being in this band for a year, and then for your newer members, how did you feel like kind of coming into this already established group?
So I think Mike and I are the 2 members who've been here since the very start, and it's been a really interesting, wild ride. It's definitely something I didn't expect when I first came to college to be a part of,
Right.
and I really enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, coming into college, you like start a band and you're like, oh man, let's be a band. But then it like fizzles out after a while, I'm just really surprised about our longevity and very thankful for it. Like, I did not expect us to still be sticking around and like still growing and like we want to make originals and still playing at Bluebird and all that good stuff. So
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. For the new members, what was that like coming into to that group?
Well, it was definitely different because you're definitely busy, but you're never bored at anything you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're kind of just doing everything you want to do in college, basically. Like, I study music at Jacobs, but this is definitely one of the most fun experiences I've ever had being in college, and some of the most fun gigs I've ever had, for things that aren't even like technically involved in what I study. So it's really just fun to be a part of it. And it's also just fun to be in a band of a lot of great friends, you know?
This is a really, really cool experience for me. I'm a freshman, so I joined the band before I even moved in. But I think that this band is kind of like a big part of my college experience already. And at the same time, it is really just a great group of friends making music together. And also just the great opportunities from playing at cool places like the Bluebird, and also just playing with really talented musicians is really cool.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. The rest of your group was telling me that in the initial stages of playing at the Bluebird, perhaps there's a lot more anxiety surrounding those performances than there is now. What are your guys' approach? Like, how do you, when you are about to go on stage, like, what are the thoughts that are crossing your mind before a big performance?
When I first started playing, I used to get really anxious and kind of freak out and scream in the green room.
A lot of screaming, yeah.
I think Ollie
That's a
referred to
theme.
it earlier as like not even like a human vocalization. Like I was just making like animal noises, screaming.
Internal.
So over time, I've kind of come to terms with it and realized that it's supposed to be more of like a fun thing, and I'm supposed to be having fun up there, and interacting with people, interacting with other people on the stage, and I think that's how I've kind of come to terms with it over time. And yeah, I look forward to every show now. I'm not as anxious anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, my first show at the Bluebird was really nerve-wracking. Just because it was like my first time playing live in a rock setting too. I used to play jazz music exclusively.
Okay.
So playing in a rock setting was a new setting already, and then playing at a venue like the Bluebird with posters of all these famous musicians throughout the years that have played there is pretty nerve-wracking.
Sure.
But over time, playing at more and more gigs there, it's kind of become like a comfort spot almost. I definitely feel comfortable on stage just because everyone else is just having fun.
Yeah.
So knowing that I'm just there to have fun and make music is a really important thing to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, definitely in the beginning, it was definitely nerve-wracking, but I was in theater back in high school, so like I kind of got used to getting rid of like the nerves when you're on stage. They all like started just coming to me after I get off the stage, but like when I'm on the stage, I just have the mindset of like, okay, you can be nervous, but like if you mess this up, you're really going to regret it. You know what I mean? So like, I'm just up there, I'm like in the zone. Yeah. You try to be like out of body and like, just not think about it too much, So like, it was definitely hard in the beginning, but like now I feel like I've definitely gotten way more used to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, facts. I was thinking like, it's a lot of fun to play there for sure. And like, I'm definitely probably one of the most self-critical members of the band, like where I'll be like, oh man, I played this wrong or I messed up this ending. And really the best shows that I remember, like we all make like a lot of mistakes when it comes to like the tiniest details, but it's really about like just having fun. Because if you really just have a good time and play the music with all your heart and soul, especially as a drummer, like just, you really got to hit those drums instead of be timid about it. It really
Quote
just,
that.
you got it, man. Yeah.
That's
I mean,
good.
it just, the audience will connect with it and you will connect with them.
Yeah, right. I think the thing that I'm learning from these, just talking to you guys, is how close of a group you are, which is a beautiful thing, and I think that is what contributes to a good performance. But I'm wondering, do you have any in show or out of show memories, like just really good memories that you think about when you think of Street Pennies?
I guess this was a few months ago, back last semester, but we used to hang out at our good friend and former saxophone player Ryan Cook's house. Sure. He lived on top of, I think, Mai Tai. He lived in that little apartment up there. And he would have us over there sometimes to hang out. And I always liked doing that. We got pizza and just chilled. His apartment was good vibes. Ryan's brother is Nate, which is how we found him.
Yeah. Yep.
Discovered.
Yeah, so that was a great experience. I know that apartment very well, and it is always a great time. But yeah, another memory from this year that I would definitely throw in when I think of Street Pennies is the Blooming Foods front porch. So we always hit up Blooming Foods before shows a lot. Just it's within walking distance of the Bluebird, and also just cheap, good food. It gets you right before a gig or before
cheap,
well, not cheap, but
No.
sustainable, I guess. But it gets you right before a gig or a rehearsal, and it's just a great spot to hang out. And I'd just love to plug for everybody the molasses cookies, ginger molasses cookies. They're a wonderful product that they sell there.
Awesome. Street Pennies endorsed.
Yeah.
Correct.
Ginger molasses
Yeah,
cookies.
100%.
Awesome.
I don't know. It's pretty wild because like before, like I didn't know any of these guys until we like started the band together, but like now I'd say there's some of my closest friends are in this group, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, just like, hanging out like at any point, honestly. Over the summer, actually, we kind of like didn't do like a whole lot of shows like this past summer. So I was like, you know what? How about I just make a song? And like I got Jack and John, who's on guitar and Jack's on bass, to help me make a song. And like that was like one of my favorite experiences. Like I wouldn't have been able to make it without them, you know what I mean? So that was definitely dope.
Pink Butterfly on Spotify.
Shameless
Just
plug.
Mike.
Perfect plug.
Yeah, totally. I think just the little moments on stage where you kind of look at each other and just rock on, like those little things are just really fun, and they really get you pumped to just really play, But yeah, it would just also be the moments outside, like, just hanging out at Bloomington Foods, like you said, or going to Ollie's house afterwards. Like, stuff like that just goes a long way, and it's always good to have, like, a band that you connect with and one you don't connect with, because you're just going to play better all the time.
Yeah. I think it's interesting, Mike, that you have your own solo project with other members of Street Pennies. And that it's cool because
Yeah.
That's wild.
That's bonkers, bro.
like 8 members is a lot. That's a lot of people's opinions and schedules and just stuff to bounce in general. So I'm wondering, like, how, they talked, Ollie and crew talked about the Slack channel, which I found very fascinating. That's how you guys manage your time? But
Really?
Yeah.
how do you feel like? Why do you feel like you guys are effective and like have been together for a year? Like, what does the communication between you guys look like?
Yeah. I was the one that created the Slack channel for the band. I think we might be the first band in Bloomington history to have a Slack.
I was blown away when I.
Yeah.
Stay
If you
organized.
think about it, though, it kind of makes sense. I mean, we have a group chat that we like text insane nonsense to all the time.
Yeah.
That group chat shall never be revealed to the public.
Yeah, on God.
Keep that
That's so
private.
weird, bro.
I'm just kidding, of course. But the Slack,
For legal
I mean,
reasons.
we had so many conversations all the time about booking and about set lists and about merch and about rehearsals and just scheduling. And we kind of had a point where like we felt really disorganized, and having such a large band, that kind of gets emphasized. So I was like, I'm gonna make a Slack channel because categories and stuff in there, and like that's our business. That's where we get business done. And if you're a band in Bloomington or in general, and you don't have a Slack channel, you should create one because
Yeah.
it's very helpful.
You've really helped us
organizing
a lot.
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, things we get lost so often, like key details about stuff, key questions we had to answer, and it was just kind of be gone in the ether because it would be buried by about 50 text messages about whatever we ate for dinner that day or something like that. So.
No, it makes sense. It's very methodical. Another thing I'm curious about, because we have a mix of, OG and new members, is how do you, as an individual musician, feel like you've grown in the band? Have you grown? Is there anything that, just like musicianship-wise, you'll take away and have with you forever?
You look cooler on stage, and you know how to connect with the audience better. You're not just sitting there and playing your instrument like, like you ever see like a show where a guitarist is just like standing there, but they're not moving. It's like even like little moments like that can really, like moving around the stage can just really make you play better because you're just not thinking about the instrument at that point. You're thinking about the feeling, and that's really what music is to us.
For real. Yeah, I mean, I was just gonna say, like, what's insane is that, like, at the beginning, everybody else was like taking solos and stuff just right off the bat. I never really got into that. Like when I started playing keys, I was using it to like write originals, you know, and just like make stuff up. And then I joined the band. Like the first few shows, like I just like did not solo at all. But then like this year, I feel like I've definitely gotten a lot more comfortable and like been practicing a lot more and all that good stuff. And just like I've been like getting more comfortable, just like even if I mess up, you know, like just keep going and like not being afraid to like try to show off at least, you know.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I've learned is how to kind of inject personality into playing. In jazz music, you can do the same, but I feel like in rock music, like you can really just, you know, sing out what you're feeling, and also just playing with other people and being collaborative, and kind of giving what you have, but not giving too much, but also at the same time not holding anything back. That balance is something that I've definitely learned, and it's been really important.
When I first came to college, I never played bass with any other people before. Like I just played it in my bedroom, mostly without an amp. And I guess like I kind of taught myself how to play it, but I don't think I was like an amazing bass player. And when I came into college and I joined Bloomington Delta Music Club, shout out. And that's how I met a lot of musicians and a lot of people who I played with. And that's how I met, the band. But I remember like watching clips of myself playing back then. Like I would be playing a bunch of noodles and, you know, like going a little crazy. And I guess I didn't like fully understand the role of my instrument in a band. And playing with Street Pennies, especially since it's a large band, has kind of allowed me to better connect with the bass and understand its function in the band and, you know where to come in, know where to drop out, know when to overplay, know when to underplay.
Yeah.
And it's something I'm still working on for sure, but playing in a large group for this long has definitely helped me better connect and understand my instrument, and I've grown to really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's awesome. What are you guys all looking forward to most in the future? What's exciting about
The band's growth? You know, it keeps getting bigger and bigger, and there's always these cool opportunities coming up. So, you know, there's just endless possibilities at this point, I think. So I'm excited to work with them for longer and just see where the future takes us, you know? Like, because I'm always hopeful that something's going to come out of it that is definitely worthwhile, and it already has been worthwhile.
Yeah, specifically, we have a gig coming up that I'm really looking forward to at the Hi-Fi in Indianapolis.
awesome?
The day before Thanksgiving, the night before Thanksgiving.
It's free.
It's free. 18 plus, pull up, by the way.
You can pull up.
You can pull up.
You can pull up.
You guys can pull up if you guys would like to.
Yes.
But my family, so I'm from a suburb of Indianapolis, so my family being able to come and my hometown friends and our family friends being able to come is going to be really fun and great to play for people I know. So.
Heck yeah, I'm excited for originals. We're working on some stuff right now, you know, shameless plug. Keep your ears tuned, keep your eyes tuned. But also just like kind of how I was saying earlier, like we really could have like just been another one of those college bands and like fizzled out. But like the fact that we're still going, I feel like, you know, this might be like very wishful thinking, but I feel like we have a lot of potential. Like I really would like to see this just go as long as it possibly could, you know. I'm talking like originals, EPs, albums, global. We're going global, man. We're going universal. World tour.
That's
Watch
right.
out, Europe.
Watch out, Europe.
Yeah, I ditto what Mike said for sure. Originals, that's what I'm looking forward to the most. And yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. Well, the remainder of Street Pennies, or Street Pennies itself, however you want to think about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much
thank
for
you.
coming on. This has been great to talk with all of you. Quick plug suggestion for your plans tonight. I've said this before, but The Reef is hosting a gig. Street Pennies will be there, as well as the Matriarch in 4 days, and you guys should come out and enjoy some music outside. And yeah, stay tuned with the rest of the Street Pennies activities at street.pennies on Instagram.
Yeah.
But that's all I have for you guys. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Yes, if
We'd
you
love to come back.
Yes, please. No. Once the original music's out, you're back on the show. I'm so serious.
Heck yeah. That's a theory.
If you guys would be wonderful and grab Curren,
Yeah.
and then you're welcome to leave if you would like, but you can also stick around. It's totally up to you.
The show's off right now, right? Or we still on?
We're still in the
We're
air.
still on.
This is
Wow.
real.
You heard it here, folks.
We are
This is how it goes down. No, this is an incredible feat, having so many people in the studio. So, but it's working out well.
We're record breaker. Yeah.
Record breaking, maybe.
I won't believe you made a mistake on live radio.
That's goofy.
No, you guys are
You got it,
perfect.
Colin.
TMZ.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So great to meet some of you. The rest of you, I know.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yes, thank you. All right.
Pretty cool.
Thank you. All right, so you just heard from the remaining members of Street Pennies. I hope you're enjoying these wild and crazy transitions. And now we have Curren on the show. Curren, hello.
Where should I sit?
This is your seat. This is your throne. Take a
Okay.
seat.
I have so many things with me.
Okay, awesome. We are on the air right now. Just as a by the way.
Hey.
I don't think I've been explicit enough, but we're live, we're on. So we just finished having a great conversation with Street Pennies,
Yeah.
who is a massive band. What great people. And they are featured in this upcoming edition of Working Title Magazine.
They are.
But what is Working Title Magazine? Who are you?
Who am I?
And what is the mag?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for having me here, obviously, Natalie. But I'm Curren Goss. I am the creative director and founder of Working Title Magazine, and the little elevator pitch is that we are a new student organization at IU, and we're a literary arts magazine. So we do a little bit of literary, we do a little bit of arts. And yeah, Street Pennies, as well as 4 Days, who you've already had on the show, and the Matriarch Band, are all featured in collaboration with the music issue and then with the house show that's going on tonight. That's also a part of like that big mishmash. I don't know if you guys chatted about that at all.
A little
earlier.
bit.
A little bit.
I've been subtly plugging it. So.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want me to talk about the magazine a little bit?
Please do.
Okay, I have a first issue, which you've already seen. The first issue was our staff issue. So it was like we took one literary submission, but the rest of it was completely compiled by our staff only, which includes Miss Natalie Ingalls.
That's right. Disclaimer, I'm a part of the magazine.
Yes.
This is a collaboration between the two of us, but yeah,
Yes.
I'm familiar with the magazine.
Natalie would be familiar. For the first issue, let me find your little... Natalie wrote a choose your own adventure for IU. If you choose wrong, you die.
You die.
You do die.
Every time.
Every single time. And then in the next issue, you have a really lovely little music mash, the game we used to play when we were all kids in like elementary school for the uninspired songwriter.
Yeah.
But I do have the music issue comes out next week.
Ooh.
It'll be here on the 18th.
Exciting.
If anyone's interested in purchasing the music issue.
Right.
Yeah, so it has, I guess here's the, for you to see really, little sneak peek. I don't know if the live stream, they can't see it, whatever.
It's there.
These are the pages.
I know those of you listening on the radio can't see it, but it's beautiful and it's student designed.
Madeline Ratzker does almost all of our design stuff, specifically for the music issue. She did, for the first issue, we really worked with wanting it to look like, it's Working Title Magazine. It's a magazine in the works. So you've seen the cover. It's very sketchy. It's lots of pencil lines. And for the music issue, Madeline wanted to do something that was a little bit more like soft. So she worked with a lot of paint strokes for this one, which was really cool. A lot of like darker colors as opposed to the primary colors we did for the first one. Like music issue colors, I would say, are like purple, black, like dark pinks, yellows. But we have a little page that has 4 Days and Street Pennies in it. And then famously, the Matriarch Band, who has also been on this show, wrote a poem about their new EP that is featured in that, if anybody would be interested in reading about the Welcome to the Matriarch EP.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you should. And it's so cool that we get to have this beautiful little collaboration of all these corners of the art scene in Bloomington come together for this. I'm curious, though. I think it is very impressive, all the work that you have done to create maybe what started as a passion project, but is now is very established. You print this magazine, people can buy it,
Yeah.
people can submit to it. You have staff writers, you have people, on a board working to make this thing happen.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, as the founder, why this magazine?
Why working title? I guess so. When I say we're new, we're very, very new. This has been an idea I've been kind of thinking about for a while for my time at IU. I am a senior, so it is kind of like, where does it go after this? But we started in July,
Right.
is when I started kind of reaching out to people, seeing if people would be interested. I wasn't really aware that a literary arts hybrid magazine wasn't there. It was kind of an untapped market here, which was something I did not know until really digging into it. There are a couple, like Indiana Review has some stuff, and Union Board publishes once a year, but I wanted something that would be more of a literary arts collaboration, very much inspired by my time at Pattern Magazine. I worked there as an intern. They're a fashion magazine in Indianapolis.
Awesome.
And of course, we have Season, lovely Season magazine. But there wasn't a place where I felt like my needs to have like literature and art and to have like a collaborative arts space. So that's kind of like why it started, was for a collaborative art space, and then just to serve the community. Really, we let people know, even though we're like a self-governed student organization at IU, so we can, which I would say is the best of all worlds, because we can get funding to be able to put on events and to be able to pay bands and to do all that fun stuff, funding to print, but then also we're able to express anybody's views, and we're able to kind of like govern ourselves and act as its own entity, which is really exciting because people can say and do whatever their expression leads them to. And we're also, because of that self-governed, able to accept submissions that aren't from IU students. So we have people in the Bloomington community who work with us as well.
Awesome. Yeah. How does it feel? So like you said, the first issue, the staff issue is out, and that was more of like a little bit internally focused on the, the people who were around from the very early, or the start, which was recent, but you had to start somewhere. But now for the second music edition, I had just said, we're bringing together a lot of different people to make this thing happen.
Yeah.
How does it feel to have all these people like come together to be a part of it?
Yeah, it feels I hate the word surreal, but it feels very surreal to be like, when we first started doing things for the magazine, I had all these big plans. I was like, I want us to print every single month, and I want us to have events that correspond with the magazine. I want people to be able to like come to something and see the impact that arts has on like a community sphere and stuff. And as we started to get into it more, I was getting really nervous that like we wouldn't be able to print every month, that we wouldn't be able to have the events we wanted to, that people would not be interested, or that they would say no to us. So especially with the music issue being only our second issue, and with having like Street Pennies and like WIUX and the Matriarch and 4 Day, like it's just very, very exciting to know that people not only like still like print stuff, because I think there's very many people are like, why would I pay for a print thing when I could like look on Instagram? So it's just really exciting. It's really like the opposite of disheartening. It's heartening to just have people who have like wanted to collaborate with us. And I remember when we reached out to the Matriarch specifically to talk about doing the house show, they were like, this is so great, we've been meaning to reach out to you about wanting to have like our work in your magazine. And that was fantastic, because I was like, oh my gosh, people have heard about it and people like want to be a part of it. And we hope that only grows with time. I hope only good things come, and I hope only more people find space to collaborate and to put their art into us.
Yeah.
And
those of you listening, you can be a part of this thing as well.
Yes.
So please do, if you're interested.
Yeah, I mean, if you're interested, we have, I mean, if you would want to follow us on Instagram, Working Title Magazine. Not a call to action. We also have a website. If you would be interested in submitting anything, we have a website. It's workingtitlemag.com. Cool. And we have our submissions form on there for all submissions. Very, very recently, very excitingly recently, we're no longer taking just literary submissions.
Yay.
We are taking, so we're taking any sort of like comedy, fashion, literary art, music, photography, or visual art submissions, all through that one form on our website. So if you are someone who, I don't know, has a photography project you've been really wanting to put somewhere and you don't know where to put it, feel free to submit it to us as a non-call to action.
That was the best non-call to action we've had on the show yet. It was
Thank
a
you.
very convincing non-call.
Yes.
My next question is,
Of course.
and I feel like it comes up in a lot of these interviews with bands, and it came up with Street Pennies, is how special Bloomington is for arts. And I don't think I'll ever have a definitive reason why, but there seems to be an energy, or maybe just the historical nature of the art scene. But it feels different than a lot, I only go to IU, but just from the experiences of other friends in college, it's a lot different in that it's just so prevalent. Do you have any thoughts about, what it could be that is making Bloomington such a thriving place for the art scene, or just your experience being part of the Bloomington art scene?
Yeah, I would say, so for me and my experience with the art scene, I was chatting with Street Pennies when they haven't been on the air about this, how this is my first introduction to like the local music scene, but I've been within the art scene, and I think the special thing about Bloomington and the special thing about IU being like a liberal arts school, because I mean, there's so many liberal arts schools like that don't, I feel like, have the same community aspect that the Bloomington art scene has, and I think it's really the connection with people outside of the university that drives the Bloomington art scene, and that makes it so special, because I think you can adventure into so many different forms. Even with the music scene, there's like a really big kind of new like punk scene in Bloomington, and like you can go to a house show there and you can meet people who might not necessarily be IU students, might not necessarily be like in tune with like other parts of the art scene or the music scene or what have you, but they're like really, really into doing their thing. And I think that's where like you get such a good mix and mash, is there's a lot of creative people and they're all trying to kind of do the same thing, which is do like community art.
Yeah.
And I think Bloomington's accomplished it. I think that we have a good community art scene, and I think everybody wants to work towards that.
Yeah. That's it. That's a good point too. I think, there are a lot of people who show out who aren't IU students, and that is a big reason and why I think Bloomington is so successful. And also, I think you're right. Well, people are pretty hardcore about the stuff that they like. So if they like going to punk shows, they're going to every punk show that's available.
If they're a Street Pennies gal, they're going to every Bluebird show. And
so but even through there, you talk to someone who's a Street Pennies fan, and they say, "Oh, I'm going to the 6 Foot Blonde show," and you go, "Who's 6 Foot Blonde?" And then you go, and all of a sudden, I don't know, the communities are so dedicated, but they also overlap in some ways. So that, I don't know, that definitely helped me crest a little farther into my understanding of what
community and art.
Community and art.
Love community and art, and that's a big thing that we talk about within Working Title and like want to do. I know there was a point where people were talking like, oh, should we have submissions be not just like focused in Bloomington? Should people who are like in Indianapolis be able to like submit their art or whatever? And we had a conversation within the editorial board that was like, this is for Bloomington. Working Title Magazine it's for the community here. It's for people who want a place to put their art there. Like, Indianapolis doesn't need that, but I think Bloomington does.
Yeah.
And so keeping it local. Love to keep it local.
Yeah.
Love
to keep it local.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up,
of course,
this incredible show that has been the Street Pennies, and Growing Pains and Working Title Magazine collaboration.
Yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts for the people?
I guess my thoughts for the people would be art is good. There's more than just art is good, but that as a non-call to action, if you would be interested in your night is free at 7:45 p.m. Doors open at 7, but there will be a house show tonight at the Reef with Street Pennies, with the Matriarch 4 Days, and Working Title Magazine. It's our first kind of big event, I would say, that we're hoping for a good turnout. And so if you're a listener, and as a non-call to action, if you don't have anything to do, that could be something on your radar.
That could be something that you could be enjoying tonight. And you should. And you can if you want. But yeah, it's very exciting. Curren, thank you.
Natalie, thank you.
This has been very fun.
I've had a great time.
I have as well, getting to talk to everybody. To the listeners, this is Growing Pains. I'm here every Friday at 3 p.m. Hopefully more epic collaborations like this in the future. But generally, we like to interview artists on here and talk to creative people in the Bloomington space. A recording of this show will be posted on my website afterwards, which you can find through my Instagram at Growing Pains WIUX. Other people you can follow are at Working Title Magazine on Instagram and at street.pennies. If you're so inclined, thank you for joining me this Friday afternoon. Hopefully we might see you around tonight, but until then, we'll see you next week. Thanks, Bloomington.